No state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. No state may deny its citizens equal protection under the law. That is part of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. You cannot deprive Republicans of the benefits of law because you are a Democrat government official or Democrat election official. This includes equal protection under all state election laws. There were three primary areas in which the Equal Protection Clause was violated during the 2020 general election. They were: 1. Higher standards of certification and identification verification for certain in-person voters. 2. Different standards of ballot curing. And 3. Different partisan treatment of poll watchers. The following table shows that these violations occurred in all 6 battleground states. These violations in many cases were documented by citizens taking videos of the violations. What I find was the most egregious was the application of lower standards of certification and voter identification for mail-in and absentee ballots. This benefited Biden to a significant extent because Trump had a higher percentage of in-person voters than Biden. The mail-in ballots were skewed to Biden by a factor of 3 to 4 higher in some states. This is important because mail-in and absentee ballots were the focus of much of the fraud in the 2020 general election. The lower the scrutiny of mail-in ballots, the more illegal ballots for Biden relative to Trump becomes apparent. So higher requirements for in-person voters shows that laws and rules were not applied equally. That ensures that ballot counts cannot be properly determined by state and local election officials. So how can states certify ballot counts with such irregularities? They can't, at least fairly and legally. These violations were amplified by Democrat election officials denying Republican poll watchers their legal right to observe the process at polling locations. Republican observation would only be impeded if the Democrats had something to hide. Election officials in the battleground states accommodated Democrat poll watchers, but denied many Republican poll watchers their lawful right of observation. Different standards for ballot curing. Correcting mistakes on a ballot is ballot curing. Democrat-controlled jurisdictions allow Democrat ballots to be cured, while not allowing Republican ballots to be cured at the same ease and rate of Democrat ballots being cured. An example can be seen in the Pennsylvania Secretary of State's illegal guidance given to Democrat-controlled counties. The same guidance was not allowed in Republican-controlled counties. An obvious unequal treatment of Pennsylvania citizens. They should have been treated equally. So again, how can states certify ballot counts with such irregularities? Again, they can't, at least fairly and legally. Differential and partisan poll watcher treatment. Political parties are allowed to appoint poll watchers and observers to oversee ballot counting. Most of these individuals have to be certified, which they present at local polling locations. These certified poll watchers and observers are free to observe the voting and counting in real time. But in many Democrat strongholds, Republican poll watchers and observers were denied entry into polling places, harassed, intimidated, and even physically abused. Their ability to observe what was going on was impeded. The only reason that would occur was to hide things that the Democrats did not want Republicans to see. Equal enforcement of the law would require that both Democrat and Republican watchers be given the same treatment to observe. This was not done in the battleground states. So again, How can states certify ballot counts with such irregularities? And again, they can't. At least fairly and legally. A violation of equal protection guaranteed under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution is a major issue. But again, the courts do not seem to want to even address the violations in the 2020 general election. Why is that? Does it make sense? Serious jurists would want to address it. Something has happened to the courts in this country. Not only has any faith in the election been eroded, but so has any faith in the courts and the judicial system. The Republic has been weakened seriously by this. Well, I hope this helps. Have a good day.